Welcome to the Unknown Options, the show that helps you unlock the doors to new opportunities and possibilities. Whether you're just starting, looking to make a change, or try to advance in your field, we have the knowledge, insights, and resources that you need to succeed. Each week, we'll bring to you interviews with inspiring guests, actionable advice, and provocative discussions to help you take your control of your career and chart your path. Join us as we explore the unknown options. My name is Will, and today our guest is Maya Alexus. How you doing, Maya?
Hi, my name is Maya Alexus. I am a 2 year ago graduate. I'm a software engineer / cloud engineer in the finance tech industry.
Nice. Awesome. Okay. So I know a little bit about software engineering, not much, but I guess explain to me like I'm 12, what is a software engineer?
So I would say like every single company or every single entity in general has problems. And a lot of times these problems can be solved by doing manual processes, or these problems can be solved by creating software that could help solve this problem. Like, for example, people connecting on social media, people solve that problem by designing and creating Instagram or Facebook and things like that. So same way when it comes to hospitals or banks and stuff, someone needs a website to get people to connect more. So it's more about like solving problems, but using technology to solve it, and specifically computer programming.
Okay. Nice. Awesome. And so, I mean, I guess what motivated you to become a software engineer?
So it's like a funny story. I didn't have an interest in software engineering at all at first. I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I was like actually at the veterinarian hospital as helping as a like assistant when I was in high school to like get my certification to be an assistant veterinarian. And I saw a dog get an ACL surgery and I almost passed out. And then I was like, okay, maybe I don't want to do this. So like my mom always noticed I was really good with our like home computer. Because remember back in the day where you had like a computer room and it was just like that big bulky computer and you had like all this stuff. So I was really into it. And she was like, well, maybe you should look into careers and like dealing with computers and stuff. So she made me like do research, and I saw like computer science or information technology and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick that as my major when I go to college.
Okay. How old were you when your mom got involved into, like, I guess, like your career? But I guess your future, because I'm asking because our last interviewee, he was from an African background, and he said like, from the day that he, I guess, maybe like I guess born to be over exaggeration, but since he like started school, they were like STEM, like math, like all that. So it's like when was your mom like super involved into your educational journey?
I would say 10th grade because I told her about how my high school started to have a computer programming class. And she was like, oh, like, I think you might like that. Maybe you should try to take it as an elective. So I was like, okay, like, I'll take it. And so I took the class and I was like, oh, like, it's all right. And so then, like, after the veterinarian thing, I was like, oh, well, I did try this computer programming. So, yeah, my family did not push it on me. Like, no one in my family is in STEM at all. I'm not even good at math like that. So it was a little apprehensive. My family is very apprehensive about me even going into that because everyone thinks it's like math heavy, but I made it through.
What do you think? Because I actually love statistics. I wanted to get my bachelor's, actually a master's in statistics. What do you think makes, I guess we're both African American, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
What makes our community specifically like so apprehensive to math and maybe even technology in general? I know like growing up, yeah, technology in general.
I think it's a lack of knowledge. Like these things aren't really talked about in our community. I would say like there's places where you can have camps and stuff like that. Like I don't remember there being like STEM camps for girls growing up where your parents could put you in, but also like those things cost money. So that not having the resources, like even at my high school, they cut the computer science program because they didn't have enough funding. So it's just like those type of things. And then like your parents and your grandparents, like nobody was computer engineers or in technology. So if they don't know and they don't know nobody that knows, how are they going to tell you? And back then there wasn't no social media or like easily Googling or internet
Yeah,
searching what these things are. So I just feel like it was a lack of research, lack of knowledge, and like lack of resources to know and push people to do it.
definitely. I
Yeah,
agree, and there's no excuse. There's no excuse now for
yeah,
people
definitely not now.
to to ignore technology and how it's evolving. But I mean, I guess let's fast forward a little bit to college. Where did you go to school, and how was well, I guess first tell us about like the journey. 'Cause I know like a lot of people go into school undeclared, or they might you seem like you had your head on straight, as in you wanted to go comp sci, maybe because you saw the ACL and you were like, I might go code and programming. But I guess tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, like I said, I wasn't good at math. My ACT scores sucked so bad in math and like science that I applied for the computer science department at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, and they didn't even let me in, but they pulled me in as undeclared. So I guess
Sheesh.
because my grades were so high. So I went through like this whole process of like working with what is the name of those advisor, and she wasn't even my assigned advisor, but I met this other black woman who was the advisor, and I told her how I really wanted to get in computer science. So she helped me set up my classes to be able to take some of the computer science classes without declaring first, and like being on their wait list to get in, so that I could declare by my sophomore year but not be like left behind because I didn't get a chance to take it my first year.
Okay,
And so
that's
after that, I took the couple of classes. And then when it came time to declare, I was able to declare computer science by my sophomore year.
nice. Okay, and how was the curriculum in comp sci?
Oh, gosh, that was horrible. Like I cried almost because since it's computer science, like you know how people have tests and stuff, we might have had a test, but it was like tests where it was like coding, and you had to answer like which one would
Mm,
be right, and then they would have tests where you would have like coding projects, and you
uh-huh.
would have to do all these things, and it would have to work this certain way. I cried every time I assignment. Like I did not understand. Honestly, I did not understand the curriculum until maybe my late junior year,
Oh
but
man.
I was confused for a long time, and I just was partnering up with people trying to get the help, and we trying to do this thing together, confused.
What? But do you say like did the curriculum translate to like on the job? Like, did you need that curriculum to work the job?
No, none of
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, none of the stuff I did, like it's the stuff that they're doing now. Like back then, cloud computing wasn't like as popular, I would say, like in curriculum. Like they might have had one class, but everything is cloud based now. So all of these little things, like maybe learning like small things like loops or something, but nothing huge that I couldn't learn now. And like my job has a bunch of different websites and portals where you can access and learn how to do the coding and stuff on the
Mm,
job.
okay.
So
So it's like it wasn't all it was. So wait, let me ask: could you do you think if you had the opportunity to work the job? Or, I mean, if you could go back in time, I guess would you go to college? Like, cause I know like there's different reasons why people go to college. Some go for the degree, some go for the network, some go for the experience, like just a
yeah,
general college experience. Would you go back, or do you feel like you would need the degree to get your job you have, or
I would say that I would go again just because like the way things are going, before you didn't really have to have a college degree to do these type of things, but it just seems like they're moving the goalposts different
mm,
places. So I love the experience of college. Yes, I got the degree, but me being in college opened doors for me to be able to like join like organizations like the National Society of Black Engineers, or going to those conferences where I got internships and stuff like that. If I wasn't a college student, it probably would have been way harder. Like those people and companies came to the school looking for us. For if they weren't in college, I feel like they had to go harder to look out, and it's not even guaranteed that you'll get it. But like there's boot camps and stuff. If I wanted to take a cheaper option, I think I would have done like a coding boot camp.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually in the coding boot camp. It's for data science though, and
Yeah.
it has been a good experience, but it's just like it's good to compare. I guess like the compare and contrast like the college experience and for different majors. And I know like in my at my company, there's some like systems engineers that have degrees and some that don't, and like some of them are just
Hmm.
like super like they've been working in the industry since like 1996, and they know
Right.
everything about networking and everything like that. And it's crazy to see the different dynamics, but okay, I guess tell us about the interviewing experience for well did you go directly into software engineering when you first graduated, or like what was that like, what was your first job out of college, if this isn't your first job out of college? Or
Yeah, so my senior year of college, I actually dropped out of school because I got
oh,
a thing called a co-op.
okay.
So you, instead of going to school, you work full time for like that whole semester or like a whole year. So I got a job at the Toyota North American headquarters, and I was
Oh
like,
man.
Mom, I'm just gonna have to, I'm gonna like this is a
Okay.
one in a lifetime opportunity to like work full time, get the experience before I even graduate. So I took a semester off and I worked at Toyota as a software engineer.
Okay.
And it was a okay experience. I'm just glad I got it on my resume. Then I went back to school. So after I got that, I did a couple more internships and then I graduated and then I started. So I had been in it
So
already.
I'm gonna go back a little bit. So why was the experience? Yeah, you made an expression on your face. Why was the experience just okay at Toyota?
I just feel like interns, a lot of interns, they just like pay you to be there. Like you're not really doing
Mm,
nothing. And I wasn't there that long, so they wasn't giving me like heavy work or something. And the work that I did, who knows, they're probably not even using it right now. And I
yeah,
spent the
that's
whole
true.
semester doing it. So I was really just going there doing nothing. I got certifications there, but and they paid for it, so that was a benefit, but I didn't really do anything.
Dang. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, you being honest. Okay. So after you went back to school after the co-op, you finished school. How was the interview? I know the interviewing process probably was easier because you had Toyota already on your resume. But how
Hmm.
was that interviewing process like for finding like your first like I guess totally out of school job?
So before I graduated, I had done two co-ops and two internships, and I
Oh
had
man.
two certifications. So I was like, oh, like everybody gonna want me. I just graduated. I got all this stuff. But that was during COVID time, so it was really hard to like find. Like COVID had just it might have been around for maybe like 6 or 7 months already or 8 months. So people were just starting to open up their acquisitions and stuff. And I was really trying to stay in Charlotte to be close to my family, but people were taking a long time to get back to me. I had a lot of coding assessments, and I'm not good at coding assessments at all. So I was like failing the coding assessments and
Oh
trying to
man.
practice and uh tell you, I mean, the job that I have right now, their process was very easy. Well, not easy, but you had to play like little mind games or whatever. And then if you passed the mind games, then you could go to a coding assessment. And then if you passed that, then you had to do like a super day, which was like maybe 4 hours straight of interviewing, like behavioral and coding. So it was,
So whoa, okay. I've heard actually. I think I might have the book, like the code, cracking the coding interview. I think I might have that
yeah.
book. But so that's like the coding. I hear that the coding interview process is a job in itself. So I mean, I guess we don't want to get too deep into it, but I guess walk us through that super day, because I mean I know a lot of people in finance, like private equity and investment management, they do super days. But like, how is that super day in like a software engineering like world? I guess.
Uh, it's really pressuring because you're in a group with like a bunch of people, and then they start to like span you out. And it was through Zoom, so I can't even imagine what it'd been like to have that interview in person because usually they fly you out.
Mhm.
So like they take you into a breakout room, and then some people are going over your resume and they're like, okay, tell me about this project you did. Tell me about this internship. What happened? What did what did you learn from this, blah blah blah. Then like after that, you might interview for like an hour or 45 minutes, then you take a break, then they move you to a behavioral room, and then they'll ask you all these questions that are like the STAR method. And
Okay.
I forgot what the STAR method is, but
Yeah, I forgot what it is too, but I was just looking at a paper that had questions about the start that down.
yeah, and then they'll just like ask you like, what would you do? And it was like crazy situations, like what would you do if your manager told you to do something that you didn't think was needed or something like that. It's like, what? Why would I tell my man? So like a lot of it was like lies, but it was like weird questions, and then like it'll move to like actual behavior. I mean, coding assessments or whatever, and they'll ask you like little trick coding assessments, like how would you solve this problem or how would you do this? And sometimes you can have like two people drilling you at the same time, like back and forth, asking you questions, and you gotta keep fastly answering it. So I
What?
was exhausted. My head hurt after those interviews.
But so how many people, like how many like interviewees were there in like the total super day?
Just that day, it was like a small group, maybe like 15,
Oh
20
man.
people. But
How many
that
got
was just that
hired?
one day. My program hires over 100 engineers every year,
Okay. Dang. Okay.
and then
So
like
so
over 100 interns.
do you think so most of those people got hired, you think? Like I mean like if they bring you to the super day, like is it I know like for a couple of jobs I've had, like if we got like I had like 6 interviews for one job, but the final job, because it was a small company, a small business, so the final interview was with the owner of the company. He's like 70 years old. But
Mhm.
they say like if you got to that interview, you got the job, just like present yourself as coherent, like a coherent human being. Is the super day kind of like that, or the super day kind of like a weed out? Like we're trying to weed like
I would say, depending on what location you were trying to go for,
mm,
like I know when the people trying to go to New York, they'll have like 500 applications a day, but only their final count is less than like 50 people that they hire. So that one's a little easier. But the location that I'm in Texas, they're always under hired. So I feel like it's easier to get in there than it would be like a popular place.
okay. So is New York does it have so many applicants because like it's New York, or is it because they pay more, kind of because it's New York?
But the thing is, like, it's New York, so yeah, they're gonna pay more, but you'll probably end up probably making less
Thinking
than
less,
what you would make
yeah.
here by the cost of living. But yeah, these young kids, they don't understand what cost of livings are, so they just be focused on how much they paying out front. But they get paid a lot, but I don't know how much that equals if your apartment is $4,000 a
Yeah,
month.
or more if they're living in
Yeah,
Manhattan or something.
yeah.
Dang. Okay. Nice. So how? So okay. So super day. So how was I guess the first day on the job, and then I guess when you're talking about it, let's go into the like you being a woman too. We know there's a disparity like men to women in tech, and well in tech, but then in the workforce in general, especially like skilled workers, there's definitely a disparity between men and women. So I guess tell us your experience about being a woman in the space, and even in interviews too, and even in college too, because I mean like I'm sure there was probably like not a lot of like women. Well, I mean I don't know, maybe there were. I don't know. I wasn't in the class, so I can't say there were.
Yeah, it was a good handful, I would say, like emphasis on handful.
Yeah.
So we would kind of try to stay close to each other and try to help each other. But I might have had like two bad experiences with like men versus women type thing in my classes. But for the most part, I think I held myself down. I'm a pretty vocal person, so I don't let people like do whatever they want with me.
Yeah.
So I think me staying strong and I have a strong personality, I did pretty well when it came to that. But in at work, the program I'm in, like a development program, so I don't have like rotations or anything. But like you go into the program straight from college, like everyone knows you're straight from college, so they're a little bit more lenient on you. And then like you get promoted from number one to number two, and then after that you get promoted to an associate or a regular full software engineer or whatever. So I was fortunate that the team that I joined, they hired four of us that were recent graduates, and two of them were women.
Okay, nice.
So
Okay.
it was only one guy, so I didn't feel as like overwhelmed. And my department was full of women too that were
Nice.
all engineers, so I didn't really feel overwhelmed in that sense that there was diversity of women.
Okay, nice. Well, I guess if you want, let's dig into one of those incidents in college where I just want to know like the dynamic. Obviously, I'm not a woman, so I can't like
Yeah.
I can't. So like I mean, and obviously, we as men want to get better at communication in those spaces. So I guess like could you if you could elaborate on one of those experiences and like where like the disconnect was, I guess.
Yeah, so we used to have labs, and in the labs, you would go and do a coding assignment, and it would be due at the end of that class. And they would put you as a paired partner. So we would do pair programming where, like, one person would have the keyboard and coding, and the other person's like helping guide, and then you're supposed to switch. But a lot of times, I know a lot of women I know would complain that like the guy would be like, "Oh, I got it," and like they would just stay as the keyboard person the whole time and kind of like take over the whole thing and not listen to your input. So I remember one time because those labs used to be long, and I would be trying to go. And this guy, I was who was my partner. Like I was trying to tell him, like, let's try to do this code this way. And I told him exactly how to code it, and he wouldn't listen to me and kept trying to like code his own way. And I'm like, you see the time, like, let's. And so I kept trying to tell him, like, at least try it, at least try it. And so then I just raised my hand and asked the teacher's assistant to come. And I'm like, if I did it like this, and this, wouldn't this work? And she was like, yes. And so I just looked at him like, come on, put that in the computer and go home.
Did he do it? Did he do it then?
Yeah,
Or
after I had to get a second opinion, but I was trying to give him the chance to do it on his own, and he just did not think my opinion was true,
valid?
even though
Yeah.
his stuff wasn't working.
Yeah, it's definitely a man thing, an ego thing. Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely a man thing. Okay, definitely. Let's get into. I mean, let's say there's like I guess like a young Maya, like 18, didn't go to college, didn't have like I guess a family to support like their future, her future, or anything like that, and she wanted to be a software engineer. How would you go about guiding her in like her path? Would you like lead her to college? Would you tell her to get a cert? You know what I mean? Maybe let's say maybe she doesn't want to go too much in debt, but I mean everyone can take a loan for the most part for college. But like, what would you tell her? How would you guide her?
Yeah, if she's not really trying to spend as much money, because college is a commitment, you got to do the 4 years, even though you only do the last 2 years of actual like computer science classes. So I would recommend someone more to do the boot camp, and they have scholarships for boot camps too. So the people I know people that started with the boot camp and got in the same job as me. Like even my job has their own boot camp where they hire people who did completely different majors. They take you in like 6, 8 weeks, and I think they're getting paid for it. And then they spit them out and like, okay, you can go do the software engineering work, but they teach them all there, and it's free. So I would recommend someone to do that. And then like software engineering is so huge. I think I would try to help them navigate and say like, okay, like what would you actually want to focus on? Because there's cloud, there's data, there's the actual hardware going on, even though that's not software engineering. There's different crevice of it. You can be in the finance, you can be in actual software services or social medias. There's website development. There's mobile app development or back end development that's wiring everything on the backside for companies. So there's just all these crevices that you can go into, but you have to know, I think you have to kind of know that more than just going in and say, oh, I want to do software engineering, because you could go do something and not be happy.
Guys, like like you would tell her like pick a niche first, and
Yeah.
then like
Or even at
probably
least try to experience it, because like there's free websites where you can practice these type of things to see if that's what you want.
okay, that makes sense. And going back to scholarships, you have your own scholarships, Future Coder. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so when I was in my senior year of college, I did a research study on what Black and Latina / Hispanic women go through when they're pursuing a degree in computer science? Like, did their parents motivate them? How did they deal with microaggressions? And what was the overlay of them being two minorities, a woman and a woman of a different race? Because the statistics have shown that Black and Latino women are like the lowest and highest to drop out of computer science in general. So I was like, okay, I know me, like it was even a struggle for me to like come up with the money. And I was raised by a single mom. So I know like some of these people could be experiencing the same thing. So let me make a scholarship where women tell me like why they want to pursue computer science and what they want to do. And then I just give them money. So I've given, I think now 8 women a scholarship in the last 2 years, and I
Nice.
see them out flourishing, joining
Nice.
organizations, doing things, staying in computer science, giving me updates on how they're doing, getting internships. So I think because I didn't have anyone to look up to when I was in college to say like this is what the end of this looks like I'm going through a lot right now and this is horrible and I want to quit, but what does the end look like for this? Like what's the reward of it? So they're always talking about like thank you, like you're a representation, like you make me encourage me to want to finish this. So that's why I do it, to like keep an eye on, help them, because I didn't have that.
Okay, that's great. Like we need more of that in the community. Honestly, like scholarship. I know my mom. She was really involved in getting me, my brothers trying to get a scholarships. I mean, our grades is bad though, so we didn't qualify for a lot of them. But she definitely was like trying to get us like because there's a lot of scholarships for a lot of different things. Like there's some like you can get for just like being left-handed, some stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
definitely like awkward stuff. But I guess okay. The next question. I know we're at 26 minutes. So we'll probably cut off soon. Um, you kind of already answered it, but I mean, like I guess like what are you currently like working on? It could be like related to software engineering or like personal that's like that excites you. Like or like what are you doing in your job that's like that excites you or like what's going on in your job that like you're excited about? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I've always, ever since I did the internship with Toyota, that exposed me to what cloud engineering was and how like these different companies like Microsoft and Amazon and all these places are coming up with cloud solutions and trying to pitch them and sell them to people. And a lot of companies are buying in now. So I think the most exciting thing I'm doing at work is like learning more about what the cloud is like, what we'll be doing, how does this us putting stuff in the cloud, like what does this mean for the company, and just like a lot of what the risk management of it is, because sometimes like Amazon just like power outs and like what does this impact really for the
Mm-hmm.
company, um and just doing things that we've never done before. And I think it's like a humbling experience because there's this is new for everyone. So like you can have a senior manager who doesn't have a clue how this works. So everyone's just trying to figure out together how this goes. And my job is really pitching to get certifications and stuff, and to see like these elder engineers struggling to try to study and understand what AWS is to get certifications and stuff is I enjoy it.
Okay, tell us a little because that's one thing I noticed about you. You were always I don't know about always, but you were getting when I was following you on Instagram. I still follow you, but I'm not on Instagram. But when you were always getting like certifications, like so, tell us more about like the certs, if you can, certs that you got and why did you get them? I know they're probably related to cloud. I think they were AWS certs, but I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So the first one I got was like the basic one called the Cloud Practitioner, and that one's just like fundamentals of like what AWS does, what kind of services they offer and stuff. And then after I passed that one, Toyota encouraged me to like go for the next one. So I got the Solutions Architect Associate, and that one's more about like actually designing, like meeting company needs to design and use the softwares available with Amazon in a more like cost efficient or highly resilient way to protect the company, but also like take the load off the company doing it themselves. And last year I got the security, uh, not professional, security associate security specialty associate exam, and that was more on like the security services that Amazon offers and what they do to protect the cloud since it's owned and managed by them themselves.
So are you gonna transfer like it's like the cybersecurity side of?
I don't think so right now. I'm okay where I'm at, but I think in the long run to have that on me is good because cybersecurity is booming, data is booming. I want
Yeah,
to do a data one soon to see how that one goes. But those two are really popular right now to be in fields for, so it doesn't hurt to get a little my feet wet in it.
definitely. Okay, definitely forever a forever student. Definitely, I agree. Okay,
Yeah.
dang. Well, we just hit the 30-minute mark. I think I want to bring you back though in like a month or two, just because I think
Okay.
we left a lot of stuff unanswered. Not you, but me. Like I didn't have because I didn't know the position, and that's my bad. I didn't do enough
Yeah.
research. But I had two final questions. The first question I asked is, are you you can it's yes or no. Is it are you underpaid or are you overpaid in your current position?
I think at my age right now, I'm overpaid.
Okay. Overpaid. Interesting. Wait, well, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel you overpaid?
Cause like where I'm at right now, I feel like people my age is not making that type of money that easily. And like my boyfriend is an engineer too, and like I came in, he's at year three, and I came in making what he's making at year three.
Is
So
he a is he a software engineer or is he like a
no,
specific type of?
he's a systems engineer. So I
Ah,
was like, oh, like I guess maybe not. And like we were getting bonus, like we were already 6 months in, and they gave us a bonus, and they raised our salary, and we had barely done anything. So I was like, okay, like this is interesting. And I
so
heard how much the new ones coming in are making. I was like, okay, like when we get our bonus and stuff, I know that's about to look good.
so I see something on Twitter all the time. Is people like the word engineer? Do you think like software engineer is a good title for your role? Because some people say like they deal with people, the software engineers deal with software, but they're not actual engineers. Like, and they say the same thing for data scientists. They say they deal with data, but they're not actually scientists. So
Yeah.
is that the correct word you think to define the role, or if it isn't, what word would you use to define the role you do if it's not the correct word?
Yeah, I would say like it's weird because you don't know anything else. Everyone uses software engineer, but I definitely don't interact with engineers.
Okay.
Um, it's all software people that I interact with.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. All right. The last question is, what's one person, event, or book? Actually, it's two more questions on mine. It's two more questions. What's one person, event, or book that changed your life? Like any point in your life, person, place, or book.
Um, I think my mentor when I was in a freshman in college because I didn't know if I really before I had declared computer science, everyone had been talking to me about how I shouldn't do it because of my math and all this stuff. And then my mentor, ironically, she was not good at math either. And she told me exactly what major kind because she went into information technology, which was less math based. And she
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, you could do it." And she told me exactly like, "This is the major I did." And I was like, "Oh, maybe I can actually do this." And so because of her, I said, "Okay, I want to declare as information technology." That helped me get in the program easier. Because it could have taken me longer to declare if I would have did one of the other ones because of the classes, but because of her, it kind of changed like the direction of my life, and that kind of just put me on track to be where I am right now. And she was older than me. She was she was still in college, but um her encouragement helped me.
Nice. They say like any if you want to get anywhere really in life in any place, find a mentor in that field. Like
Yeah.
it's what I did for real estate. I paid a lot of money for one, and at first I didn't think he was worth it, but then I seen like the ROI like the next year. So it's like even if you don't think it's worth it, like I didn't even know the dude, but he was like very convincing, should I say,
Yeah.
when we talked. But okay, the last question is if you could go back in time and change any event related to your life, would you change anything?
Mm, I think I would have, when I started to learn math in general, I wish I would have been more serious about learning it and being more aggressive about it, because I really struggled in school. And if I wouldn't have had the people that I knew to like help me and making group chats and check, I don't know how good I would have done. And
Chad is
that was
definitely the
before
GOAT.
Check was snitching on students and stuff. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I mean, well, now the students got Chat GPT. That's like Check 2.0. So, I
but I
mean,
just saw this man made a thing to show if a student has written something with Chat GPT.
yeah, I saw that
I said, this is
too.
wild.
But then they just gonna build another like little model that can do the same thing. That's like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be like I watch this podcast and like obviously like one of the big industries per se is SaaS, like software as a service. The dude
Yeah.
Chamath, who owned the Warriors, he said that the next big raise is gonna be like be models as a service. So they're just gonna make models and just sell them. So like they're in like probably like
Yeah,
five.
about to get crazy.
Yeah,
It's going to be scary. It'll get to a point where we won't know what's real and what's not. All these AI generated images and
Yeah.
videos and stuff, it's going to get scary.
I'm not gonna lie though. I'm a proponent of AI. I don't know. There's a book. I mean, you may have already read it. It's called I'm looking to see if I can find it in my bookshelf. It's called The Price of Tomorrow by Jeff Booth, and it talks about like the deflationary nature of like technology. And it's a really good book to read because it shows how like somebody said on Twitter, we're just talking now. This interview's almost over, but it's like how the dude was like, "Oh, Chat GPT is going to be. It's going to like." It said that it costs Microsoft Azure like 6 cents each query. So like, but they're using the Azure cloud. So like they're paying, and Microsoft invested $10 billion. Like it's like a circle. Like they're just funneling the money back to them. But someone's like, it's going to get too expensive, but technology by nature is deflationary, so it's going to get cheaper and it's going to get better. So it's like, what does Chat GPT or the evolved version of it look like in 10 years?
Yeah.
Like it's going to be
I
near.
just hope it'll be like good security measures and stuff, because I just think about, not in a negative way, but what good people are using it for is going to be good, but what bad people could use it for is completely different.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be, like you said, it's going to be an interesting future. It's like there's like, we as humans, we never see the middle. We always see like the movie, like Ready Player One, that environment, or we see like Elysium when they were like, I think it was on Mars. We never can see like, we can see it, but it's hard to imagine something that you can't really like predict. I mean, like,
because it makes me think about crypto and how like it was good at first, but now all these people taking advantage and scamming people and doing all this, it just turned completely evil.
Yeah. But the thing about crypto, I'm a crypto advocate.
Yeah.
The thing about, I actually wrote an article about this on my blog, shameless plug, but it was, the whole point of it was that people were using crypto against its means. Like crypto is meant to be decentralized. It's meant to be used like in a hard wallet. It's not to be sitting on centralized ledgers. But all of these companies were putting them on centralized exchanges like Coinbase, Gemini, Celsius. I lost money in Celsius. I mean, it's money I could lose, but I lost it. But I mean, essentially what they were doing was against protocol. It's like if you were doing, like, you're a software engineer, you were doing something that's against the protocol of software engineering, and then you're surprised when it fails.
Yeah.
But it's against like the concept of it. So like I'm not that surprised that it failed. I am surprised about the level of fraud in the industry, but I'm not surprised that it failed because it wasn't really crypto. It was old finance, TradFi, wrapped in a crypto Christmas bubble wrap, saying like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
crypto." But I mean, it'll be back. It'll be back. It'll be the same thing. It'll be more fraudsters, but then it'll be good stuff too. There will be
Yeah.
the good, but like the bad always outshines the good. So I mean,
So
we'll
that's
see.
how I feel how the AI stuff is gonna go because people
Yeah.
find a way to do stuff, but hopefully there's more regulation because crypto can't be regu- regulated or whatever. But this, hopefully, there's more. The
Yeah.
people training the AI could be more protective over it.
I hope so. I know I majored in health systems management, and there was a class about it was health ethics, but there was like a PhD. I forget the dude's name. It was on YouTube. I watched like his presentation, but it was about ethics in technology, and he was saying like he laid down like a kind of like a rule list of what questions we as humans should answer before we allow a technology to be released to the public. It's a really like so it's like technology ethics. So I mean, I feel like if they being, I mean, society, I guess, like if we release some sort of like technology ethics, then like it will be okay. But I mean, like you said, if it's just like free reign and people have full invoked access to everything, then I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us, Maya. I mean, we're definitely going to have you back on. Tell people like your social media, like where to find you, and like definitely your stuff about your scholarship too.
Yeah, so like I usually post the scholarship on my social media. So my name on social media is Maya Alexus, as it's spelled Alexus. I have my YouTube channel is Maya Alexus as well, where I talk about certifications and stuff like that. So yeah, everything is Maya Alexus.
Perfect, awesome.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having me.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Thank you for joining us on the Unknown Options, and everyone, thank y'all for watching. I'm gonna stop.